What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's happening with earnings, what you should be watching for on the charts. Let me mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about 12 days. Anyways, guys, I was trying to upload this video earlier, but I had a big Wi-Fi issue, and that's the reason why I'm a little bit late for today. I'm going to try to make this video as fast as possible just to get this out there as quick as I possibly could, just to give you guys as much value as possible before the market opens. So what's happening with the markets? Today is Thursday, May 16th, 2024. I want to make it very clear that initial jobless claims came out at 231,000. This is somewhat above expectations. And then we also had continuing jobless claims as expected. This is showing us that there is a little bit of contraction in the labor market. We're starting to see a little bit more unemployment, but things are not as horrible as many people projected. Unemployment is not soaring to crazy levels. We're just starting to see slightly higher amounts of these jobless claims. And then moving forward, we just had the industrial production year over year at 0%. Month over month is up 0.5%. And manufacturing production is also up about 0.8% year over year. So we had some numbers come out for manufacturing and industrial production. Now, the market's going to open in about 8 minutes from now. After the market opens at 10 a.m., we have Barr giving a speech, then Harker at 10 a.m., Mestre at 11:30 a.m., and then we have Bostic giving a speech after that. So we have a bunch of Fed speakers, at least for today, at least throughout the day. We have a bunch of them, so that could affect the market to some extent. But just know that the Fed is not as incentivized to be hawkish because the CPI data was decent, so this could be more positive for the markets. The market is once again back to rallying, but we're going to be approaching some tight resistance to be watching for. There's also news coming out that Walmart did relatively well for earnings, not to mention the fact that Netflix is taking a step into live sports. This is making some big headlines right now. So as far as earnings go, Walmart's just announced its earnings before the market opened. JD.com also announced their earnings. And after the market closes, we have Applied Materials and a couple of others. For Walmart's, they're jumping because they had some pretty good earnings overall. Looking at them right over here, their EPS was about 60 cents adjusted. That's above expectations. Revenue is $161.5 billion above expectations. And on top of this, we saw a very, very nice jump in their net income. We have also an increase overall in the same store sales for Walmart of about 3.8%. E-commerce sales are up 22%, and their guidance was actually pretty good for what we saw for the next 12 months. Pretty good guidance overall for the remainder of the year. So that ended up being announced, and that's part of why the share price is up quite a bit right now. So good guidance, good earnings, great for Walmart. Now let's just talk about the charts, what's going on. We have a critical resistance to be watching for on SPY. We have this 530 area. If we manage to hold above 530 for an extended period of time and continue to push, we could be going all the way up to 532. But if we struggle at 530 and kind of shuffle around this area, we end up losing it. I'll be looking at 528 as potential targets and 526.64. Now, even if we do dip a little bit, that does not mean that SPY is crashing. Do not kind of misinterpret that. We could still be on a very, very big uptrend, even if SPY retraces to 525. We could retrace a bit and start bouncing again if that were to happen. But right now, don't worry about retracing or bouncing or anything like that. Just watch the price action and follow what this tells us about the charts. Right now, SPY is kind of fighting this 530 area. We'll have to see if we break this or not. Keep in mind, we already pumped so much the last couple of days. So this resistance is going to be very, very tough. And we'll have to see if SPY can break it or not. If we do get a little rejection, don't panic. Just know that it might dip a little bit, but then we could get a big bounce after that later on. So watch resistance at 530. That's going to be critical for SPY. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla's actually kind of dipping a little bit. So we have resistance at 175 on Tesla and also at 176. If we break the 176s, yes, Tesla can start flying. And we also have support in the 172s. This is going to be critical for Tesla. I think Tesla might actually dip a little bit towards the 172s, and we'll have to see if Tesla bounces or not. If we bounce off this, the uptrend could still be intact, and Tesla could still continue to uptrend from here. So it could come down to 172 and continue to climb. Remember, one thing about Tesla is that we had this high here. We came down, made a lower high, came down, made a lower high. And we're trying to kind of shift this trend as we have a potential break of this structure right here. So will Tesla continue to hold 172 and bounce and start pushing higher? Or are we about to lose 172 and start dipping a little bit? I'll be watching for that very carefully. So look for a test for the 172s. If we bounce, we continue higher. If we lose 172, we're going to be dipping all the way down to fill this gap. Watch that test. It's going to be critical for Tesla. For Nvda is at resistance right now at this 950 area. If we were to retrace, I'm going to be looking at like 944 to 945. We could actually test that area and try to bounce. If we bounce off this area, we're going to be pushing for 960. If we lose 944, we could be dipping all the way back down into the 930s from here. But I think that Nvidia is going to dip a little bit, and we'll see if we get a big bounce or not. So watch for that very carefully as we're approaching critical support around 944 to 945. For the triple Q, we have resistance currently at this 453 area. If we lose 453, if we struggle to hold this, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 450, then 448. If we bounce off this, we're going to be looking for 455 as resistance. So we'll have to see how it goes. We're watching resistance right now. This is going to be critical, at least for the share price. I'll be very, very patient nonetheless, just to see how things look. For Aapl, we're pushing up very nicely into the 190 area. We look very strong right now, but watch 190.5. If we do break through this finally, we could be pushing for 192. If it kind of pushes a little bit and rejects, look for 189.3 as support and 188. As of right now, it's holding up quite decently, so we'll give this a bit more time. For Amzn, Amazon's kind of dipping a little bit. We have support currently at 185.5. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping a little bit lower. We have resistance at 186.5. We're kind of stuck in the middle. So watch and see which way it breaks. It's looking a little bit weaker, but we're still holding support. So that's how it's sandwiched for now. For Meta, we're dipping a bit. I do think we're going to be testing 472, and we'll see if we get a bounce on Meta or not. If we lose that, we're going to be dipping to 468 or lower. So look and see how we end up reacting to that support. GME, kind of dipping a little bit. Watch resistance at 34. If we break that, we could push higher. If we lose it, we'll be dipping to 25. So it is looking a bit more bearish overall. Same thing with AMC. We have resistance at 5.27. If we fail to hold that, watch 5, then 4.38. I'll be watching those very carefully. The VIX is at 12.4. We'll see if we get a bounce or not on the VIX. We're still very close to our key support zone, that 12.4 area. Every time it hit that area this year, it did bounce. So watch and see, does the VIX get a bounce from here, or does the VIX end up continuing to fall and break the lows? I'll be watching because it's still technically holding support. All right. So anyways, one last thing. I also want to call out, hold on, the 10-year treasury yield. It's important for me to mention this because we have a bunch of Fed speakers. The 10-year treasury yield is currently testing previous resistance, becoming support. If we get a bounce here, we could come up to fill this gap, depending on what the Fed speakers say. If it rejects off the 200 EMA at 4.36, we're going to be rejecting and dipping down to this other gap. So it all depends. It's all relative, so it depends on what we hear from the Fed and such, and this will end up affecting the markets as well, nonetheless. All right, so anyways, for SPY, guys, market's still pushing, but watch resistance at this 530 area. We'll see how things end up reacting at 530. So I'll be open-minded and I'll be very, very biased nonetheless. Once again, guys, I apologize if this video is uploaded very late. I had no Wi-Fi for some time, but all issues have been fixed, and I will be uploading this video as soon as I possibly can. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. I'll see you guys in just a couple of hours, and peace out.